Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Artcasters, and I forgot what number it was. I think it's what I had it written down here. Okay, 78. 78, and kind of a different lineup today. So Jeff, as with last week, his computer's still not working properly, so Jeff's not here, and Josh isn't here. He's got some family in town, and it looked like Kevin might not make it either, but Kevin is here. So in kind of a frantic, I went out and called in sort of some pinch hitters for me. So because I didn't want to do this by myself. So we've got Mike Emeritz.
Hello.
And Gaz Gretsky, aka Gazbot.
Yes, sir. For some reason my camera turned off, but I am here.
And so yeah, this is kind of like, it's like the Two Timers Club, I think. I think everyone here has done 100 days of making comics at least twice.
Yeah, and both of us are divorced because we had two-timing wives. Did I?
Oh! Wow, starting with a bang.
Actually, well, technically, I'm in the middle of my my second time, so I haven't completed it yet. Everyone else has done it a second time at least. So, but based on kind of what's going on, it seems like I don't know if it's just in the air or whatever, but with Jeff and his computer being out, and I was watching one of Chris McQuinlan's videos, and it seems like his computer's out. Although I think they were doing, I just saw a notice that he was doing the Art Bastards, the show that they do that's kind of like ours.
The show that copied you mean?
It's the Australian version of the Artcasters.
Okay.
But yeah, I was thinking to myself, man, because everyone's had these issues. You know, everyone's, computer goes down or whatever. Last year, I lost a hard drive, and we've got these setbacks and all these things that could just kind of come out of nowhere and just like devastate us. But yet we still kind of pick ourselves up and keep going. And it's just like, I don't know what it is, because this business is just, it's like one of the hardest things to do, one of the hardest things to like make a living at doing. And yet we kind of persist. And I'm thinking to myself, what is it, what is that passion, or what is what's wrong with us that we just don't give up and we still keep going no matter what? So I don't know, does anyone want to start off?
Well, obviously you're asking that kind of sarcastically, what's wrong with us? Because I think most people here would say that what's right with us. Like why do normal, quote unquote, normal people give up?
No, because I think a lot of people do kind of just throw in the towel, and a lot of people think, I think going into it, they want that quick thing. They want to be able to draw, or whatever. But they don't really want maybe necessarily put in the time, and it takes so much time. And a lot of times that time you put in doesn't really,
it's not glamorous. The idea of being an artist is glamorous, but being an artist is not glamorous.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know well, I'll take a stab at it. Aside from the fact that I think me and possibly some other people in this call and other artists don't have a fallback. Like I say this to kids all the time, like, oh, you want to be an artist? Yeah, don't learn anything else. You'll have no choice, which parents hate, but it's like, yeah, if I could have been a dentist back when I had no heat and I couldn't pay my rent, I probably would have went and been a dentist. You know what I mean? But I had no other choice but to keep drawing, because what else could I do? And that's aside from the whole, hey, I have a passion for telling stories, blah, blah, blah. That's all a given, that you want to be an artist. But like, when you get broke and desperate, you might make choices. And if you don't have those choices, you're an artist. But the other thing is, I forgot what I was going to say, so I'll pass this over to someone else.
Well, I was just going to jump in and say, yeah, I totally agree, because I have like no plan B. I mean, I have never waited tables. I don't know, and my math skills are so bad. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, I have no experience doing any of that. I have some experience, like there were times where I was lean, where I did some construction stuff, but besides that, I mean, it's like, this is all I know. So I definitely can agree with you. What about you, Mike?
I'm gonna have to agree. There's just nothing else that I really can do, and I've had tons of jobs, like more than I care to admit, and I've just failed miserably at all of them, because I'm always looking for ways to sidestep my work and be writing or drawing or working on some other little thing that I want to be doing. One of the best examples of that is I was working for Barnes & Noble for many years. I think I was there for 6 years. And the only reason I stayed that long was because it was so boring. There was so much downtime. I would take like the little receipt tape slips, like the ends of the receipt tape, you know, where it starts turning pink. I would save all of those, and I would save our little invoice forms. And I wrote a whole book on the backs of those receipts while I was there. But then we got new management, and I got in trouble for it, and eventually they let me go. But it was like that every other job that I went to. I was just so distracted, always wanting to do something creative, or if not that, doing the other job just very poorly. So it's like, this is the only thing I'm good at. no other option, really. No fallback.
Yeah, Evan Moore in the chat says it's hunger, which I guess they don't know what they say about starving artists, so I guess there is a bit of a hunger there.
Well, it could be taken both ways too. It could be literal hunger, and it could be the hunger to like succeed and
right. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing I was gonna say. I remembered now. And practically speaking, I have no plan B. So I've intentionally or unintentionally locked myself onto a path I cannot get off. But the other thing is, I think we've all known, whether in high school or college or just in life, like people, I'll describe them as creative people who have good ideas about what colors we could throw on for that party, and like, you know, have ideas like that. And they maybe are more creative than the average person. But some of those people decide that they want to be artists kind of for the wrong reasons, because they like the idea of being an artist. They like the idea of being called creative. And they don't like study, and they don't put the hours in. Just every couple of weeks, they, you know, glue some string to something and call it art. And they you know, and like that's fine. That's a sort of craft, and that's a hobby and whatever. But if you have the attitude of, I just like being a creative person, I just like being thought of as interesting and arty, you're going to fall off, because when it gets hard and no one's there going, wow, look how great you are, you're going to stop. But if you just want to make good art for yourself and hope other people like it, and you have stories you want to tell, and this sort of, for lack of a better term, fame, although, you know, fame is such a low level thing with what we do. But if the fame is not your prime motivator, which it shouldn't be, then you'll persevere, because whether people like it or you know, are paying attention, it's nice if they do, but most of us have spent our whole life with no one looking at it, and we're used to that, and we don't care.
Yeah. I totally agree. I always feel like this is something I have to do. It was never a choice, really. It's more of like a compulsion, you know?
Yeah.
Whether anybody's paying attention or not, I'm still going to do it.
Right.
Know?
Yeah. So, I mean, Kevin, without putting too fine a point on it, I mean, you're going through some stuff right now, but I mean, you're doing this basically your war and everything, which I think kind of ties into this whole thing. So, I mean, based on kind of what you're doing now, if you can kind of fill us in, when you are in a situation like that, how do you pick yourself back up and kind of go on and everything? I mean, that's what you're doing now. I mean, and are there times when you think, well, maybe you should just give up or whatever? But, you know, I've had thoughts like that, but I can't give up. It's like, I could never give up. Oh, Kevin isn't here. What happened to Kevin?
Well, he got offended.
There he is. He's back.
Hey, Kevin, are you back?
Yeah, I got booted off.
Okay. You probably didn't hear what I said, so I was throwing it over to you, but I was saying, now with you kind of doing this new chapter in your life and everything, and taking on this, which you've kind of dubbed my war.
Yeah.
What what goes through your mind when doing something like that, and starting that off and basically saying, look, this is my dream, and I'm going to keep doing it no matter what happens here?
Well, room, please remove them. Because of what I'm going to say.
Oh.
So what goes on through my mind, why I'm doing something like this, or, you know, I mean, if we're going to get personal, because it's a new chapter, you know, I was in a shitty marriage with someone who poo-pooed, for lack of a better term, everything that I was into. And so what happens is I go, fuck you, and start something like this. So
yeah, and I think that's a good thing you brought up as far as a support system, because it really helped. I mean, I'm lucky enough that like my girlfriend is like super supportive, and you know, it's just never an issue, and she's kind of one of those weird people that actually is into artists. You know, it's not like Kevin, you know, not like being a musician. So
well, I'll tell you, I mean, it was a lot different when I was the cool guy who was just in a San Francisco cool punk band who just moved to Portland before I became stay-at-home dad on the arc.
Well, I mean, feel free to
hold on, buddy.
Okay.
And so then, you know, then it takes for, you know, 1 or 2 years of something bad to happen, and then all of a sudden there's no support system anymore. So, you know, you gotta watch who you end up with around, you know, because, you know, when things are good, it's easy to be supportive, and when things are bad, you know, you gotta make sure that you're around somebody who's gonna stick around when things get bad, you know, because they always get better. Gazbot.
Sorry, I didn't know you didn't finish. I was just gonna ask, because I mean, I kind of know your personal history vaguely, but you know, I know you were in some punk bands and some were more successful than others. But I guess my question is, I often equate, you know, visual art to acting to musician. It's all kind of under a huge umbrella of creative endeavors that,
Sure,
while emotionally fulfilling, are not stable and don't always pay well.
Right.
So I guess what I'm wondering is, if you were essentially a musician and transitioned to more of a full-time artist, how did that make things worse or more, like, isn't it kind of the same? I mean, obviously it's not, because something changed, but what is the distinction there between being the musician and being the visual artist?
Well, I mean, what I was much, except, you know, career has paid more and lasted longer.
The music career did? Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
I'm getting that from you guys too. It was a bad connection today, I guess.
Oh man.
I mean, really, the distinction with what I was talking about is like, you know, I'm in all these punk bands, and it was like, oh, you're super cool, and then, you know, and then all of a sudden that goes away, and people are like, oh, you're not cool anymore. I can't live in that cloud. You know, I can't be in that circle anymore. That cool circle.
So it's less about the financial stability and more about the cool card?
Well, there's that at first. Like, are we talking about my marriage?
Well, I'm trying not to talk specifically about your marriage.
Yes, there was that at first. It was cool because we were younger, and cool had more street cred than money. Then we get older, I'm not cool anymore. I had money in my art career, and then all of a sudden we had like a bad couple years, and, you know, so that's what I'm saying. You just got to watch out, because there was conditions with everything. You know what I mean? It was like, are you cool? Oh, now you're not cool, because, you know, I used to be the party animal punk rock dude. Then I was, you know, old suburban dad, you know, all of a sudden, and then that's not that cool. And then, you know, quote unquote cool.
Right.
And then, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's money in the bank, and oh, now it's pretty rough. So, you know, if we can get through this, there'll be money in the bank again. There'll probably be a rough patch again, and there'll be money in the bank again. But as soon as there was no money in the bank again, it was essentially me becoming uncool.
Gotcha.
You know, yeah. So you gotta. What I'm saying is, you just gotta, you know, lick my. Okay, so we got a troll here.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. At first, I was like, they were saying, why were they cursing? And I was going to say, you know, usually I don't curse on my channel, but I don't censor people either. So, but then I realized it's a troll. So.
Yeah. I think there's a way for you to kick that person out and block them. Anyway, so yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, you just, you know, you got to make sure to, just to what Scott was saying, you know, his girlfriend is very supportive and all that kind of stuff, and they've been together for a good amount of time now. Yeah. So,
yeah,
you know, it's just
over 5 years.
Yeah. So I think it's important to surround yourself with those people, and if you start to see that people aren't going to be supportive of you, because this, you know, you guys know how it goes. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't want to surround yourself with people who are only in it for the easy stuff, you know. It's going to bite you in the ass.
Well, that seems like good advice.
No, thank you. Anyway.
I was just trying to figure out how to kick people out. But
You know what's weird? I was looking at the comments, and that person that's trolling now, like for a while they were saying normal stuff, and then just went off the rails for some reason.
Yeah, totally normal. That's how it always happens.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. We can just, I mean, these won't post with the video anyway.
Oh, okay.
But I was gonna, I guess we could, if there's anything else anyone wants to talk about on this. Otherwise, I kind of want to find out what Mike and Gaz have been up to.
You go first, Mike.
Me?
Well, I noticed, and I'm sure it's just like me where there's just, you got so much stuff going on, but I know you're doing your stuff on Instagram, but usually when I'm watching your updates, I'm like at a place where I can't have the volume up. So I don't hear what you're saying. I know you used to like collect them and put them in a video. So I have no idea what's going on, but everything I'm seeing looks so awesome. I mean, it's just like, I mean, you are shining with this challenge, man.
Well, thank you. I was going to say, I think that's how most people watch my Instagram videos too, actually. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have been working really hard on this comic for the anthology. Anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, we're putting together an anthology. Yes. Why? You haven't heard, Gaz?
No, tell me more.
Well, you're in for a treat, my friend. So the fellas over in the Hundreds comics group got together and put. Okay, I can't sustain that. We decided it would be cool to do a book, do an anthology that kind of celebrates this whole thing. And so there's about, I think that's like 15 or 16 of us are making comics. And then there's about a handful of people, Scott included, and Gaz, they're doing pinups. Kevin's doing the cover. And it's going to be pretty awesome, actually. And everyone involved has finished the challenge, too. So it's kind of like, I don't know, a little reward, I guess.
A victory lap, maybe?
Yeah, victory lap. That's a good way to put it. But we decided, hey, we're going to make this harder on ourselves because, you know, we're the Hundreds. We got to have a challenge. So we set a 100-day limit. So everybody's got to do their 6-page comic, finish them in 100 days. And we're on day 70-something now. 74? Yeah, 74.
It's taking me 70 days to do the cover.
It's totally fine. I feel like I've learned a lot actually doing this. Like I went in with like a lot of ambition, like I'm going to make the best 6 pages that I can make. And that's exactly what I set out to do. And I figured, you know, 6 pages, what's that? That's going to be no problem. But I quickly learned that to do the best that I can do it takes time. And 100 days maybe isn't even enough, but I'm gonna cut it close. But
I feel like that's in keeping with the theme of the 100-day challenge in general, though. Like everybody's like, I'm gonna do these awesome videos and do this epic story, and then like 5 videos later, it's like I'm just gonna record myself talking and do a 6-page super easy story because this is ridiculous.
Yep, it really is. But everyone's been doing some really awesome work too. I've been super stoked seeing everybody finishing up their pages or getting started on them at least. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I agree with what you've been doing. Really awesome, Mike. And everybody's doing stuff. Also, I think Ox is in the chat, and like his stuff looks awesome. I mean, it always looks good, but it's like a whole different take on his same basic style, where it's like this really heavy black inking style, which I really dig.
Yeah.
So do you? I'm trying to remember who. Well, we don't. I guess we don't. It'd be too difficult to go down a list. But I'm trying to remember who all was in it and what they're doing and everything. But from kind of a moderator standpoint, I mean, how's it coming along? As far as have you been keeping track of what people are doing? I mean, are we going to get all our stories or?
Yeah, actually, we've as of today, we officially have just everybody that was involved from the start is still involved except for one. We only lost one.
Cool.
So the whole clan is still going strong.
It's impressive.
And, it seems like everybody is starting to at least get onto inking right now. There's a few people that are just starting like their type pencils, but they work pretty quickly. So yeah, it's It's really cool. I think there's quite a few people that are just kind of doing their own thing and not really checking in much, but from time to time you get little glimpses and you see that they're hard at work too. But yeah, everyone's just, I feel like at this point everyone is just so focused on trying to meet the deadline that you know, head down, do the work.
Yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
the most important thing.
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of hangouts too, actually.
Yeah, so do you
people from the group.
You have like a hangout that goes 24 hours a day? Is that how that works? I didn't really understand.
Yeah, it's just Google Hangouts. If you don't, if it's not live and you don't do it through YouTube and all that, it just stays open if you want to go back to it. So Chris McQuillan created a link and we've just had it open, and there's, I mean, you can go in at almost all times of the day and there's usually at least 1 or 2 people in there.
Yeah, I popped in a couple of times. Kevin, you're on there twice. Oh, there you go. Okay.
I keep getting, twice I'm getting kicked off now, so we'll see. How it goes. I got a bad connection. But
yeah, I mean, I jumped in there a couple times, but I didn't realize it was you know, a 24-hour thing. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. A couple times I've been working, 2 in the morning and be like, well, let me see if anybody's on. And like, there's like 4 people on. I'm like, awesome. Yeah.
That's cool.
The different time zones help, I think, because there's people on there from all over the world, all over the country. So,
how many people are in the community? I guess the 100 Days of Making Comics community.
I don't know.
Or that are doing is that just for people that are doing the anthology then?
Oh, no. You mean in the anthology community?
Or? Oh, is that hangout? Is that just for people in the anthology who are doing the anthology?
No. Okay. No, that's actually for all of the hundreds. And then there's actually a couple people that have come over from Jason well, it's not Jason Brubaker's group anymore, but the Unnatural Talent group.
Okay.
Because we were doing hangouts as well. And so there's a good mix of maybe like 3 or 4 people that come from over there too. But they're aware of the hundreds. Most of them are actually thinking about doing it themselves too at some point. So they come in from time to time too.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's not aware now that Will Terrell is doing it, I'm sure they are now. I see a lot. He's bringing a lot of people in.
Yeah. One, Kiki specifically said that she came because of him. Probably others as well.
Mm-hmm. Someone wants to know who the one person is that bailed out. I cannot reveal their name. It shall forever be a secret.
I know, and I won't say. I would say, but it's not my project to say. But I will give you these tools. If you look at the page, it says who everyone was going to do it. Then just figure out who didn't do it. Like there is a list of people who said they were going to do it. So just look at that list, and you can figure it out.
Columbo Gaz.
Well, no. To be fair, I was told expressly, but I am a curious jerk, and if nobody told me, that's what I would do to find out. So.
Yeah, I think we may have actually removed their name from the list, though. So.
Well, if you look at posts old enough, there's evidence out there. You could find it. Is what I'm saying. Right, if you care enough.
Don't hurt them, please.
No, nobody's mad at them. They bowed out nicely, but
yeah,
it's not as easy as a lot of people might think.
Right.
No.
That could be the summary for doing comics, being an artist for a living, doing 100-Day Challenge, any of those things. It's not as easy.
Being alive.
Yeah.
So what about you, Gaz? What have you been up to?
Well, my main client job has been doing those sci-fi book covers, Tales of Roxanne. I got hired to do 13 of them. I've done 4. It is. It's a pretty awesome job. The pay is good, not great, but good. But the creative freedom is really big there. It's gotten bigger with each cover I've done, and the guy's really easy to work with. Like he has like almost no notes when I turn my stuff in. But for whatever reason, like we have a contract and I've got a certain amount of payment up front and stuff, but he's been really dragging his feet on getting me cover 5 rather, which is fine. Cause I know it's still there. And if he disappeared, I'd actually come out ahead financially. So I'm not like, I don't think he's screwing me over or anything, but between that and me getting on top of a few other things, like this week I had no client work at all, actually. For the like literally none, not even like a caricature job on the weekend or something. So this past weekend I did the San Jose Toy Show, which I just did a video up about selling art and stuff like that. But then this week, I've been working. Well, I'm working on the Horror 4 issue 2, which is my independent kaiju comic. For those that don't know, I successfully kickstarted issue 1, which I had started with my first run of 100 days. So that's all ties back in. And I've been working on issue 2 for way longer than I should be. And I don't know, a month or two ago, I tried to do a challenge that I set for myself, my week of working as a comics pro, meaning I would spend 8 hours, kind of like what Kevin did on his final 100 day, but doing that every day because I had no client work, just 8 hours a day working at the table. And like if I took a break to, make breakfast, I'd turn off the timer. If I did anything other than working, I'd turn off the timer, and I failed. I did a lot of work that week, but I didn't do 8 hours a day at all. But this week I'm trying it again. And I'm making videos, but I'm not putting them up daily because that's more time that I wouldn't have to try to complete this challenge. So when I'm done, I'll put them up, and I don't know if I'll fail or succeed. Right now, I'm failing, but I'm failing better than I did last time because Monday I got 7 hours, Tuesday I got 7.5, and today I've got, I think, about 6 hours right now. So I'm already doing better, and it's plausible that I could make up those extra half hours and hours, before the end of the week. But yeah, I hope I succeed this time. But even if I don't, I'm getting a lot more work done on my comic than I would have had I not put this concentrated effort forth.
Yeah, I watched the first time you did it, and I was like, Gaz, what are you doing, man? You keep playing video games.
I know. I know.
The guy that's done the challenge twice.
I know. Well, it's kind of tough. Well, it's tough, because that's like social time with my wife as part of it. But also having done the half-hour minimum, when I'm doing 4 hours and 5 hours, it's hard to feel like you're failing. Like I did 5 hours today. Right. Now I am failing because I said 8. So I think that was part of it. That the mindset, it was tough to shake the mindset of just do what you can as opposed to get a full 8 hours. So I'm putting a lot more effort in this time. Like I said, 7.5 hours. Like I hope I'll succeed. But if not, it's like all these challenges. Even if you fail, it's worth doing.
Oh yeah.
So just to make Gaz feel bad, Kevin, how's it going with your war? Because you're updating only a week, so maybe we can get like a little insight to what's going on.
Well, what is today? Today is day 3. It's going.
Are you still doing no cold showers?
Yep.
Oh man, that's brutal.
It sucks.
I would not. Yeah, that's one thing I would not agree to.
That's what everybody does. I mean, everyone says, "I can't believe you're doing that." I would never do that. And then you know what I say?
I'm a warrior.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck you.
It sucks.
Yeah.
But it's like there's certain things I like. Some of the stuff I said in the first one, it comes from like this whole challenge for me comes from like 3 different sources.
Right.
But the source of the idea of cold showers came from, and then I started looking on YouTube, and there's a bunch of people that they have YouTube it's almost like there's a scene, it's like 100 Days of Making Comics, where they just put out cold shower videos. And,
really?
Have these these people, and they talk about the benefits of their showers or whatever. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff that people say that it things that may or may not be pseudoscience. But from it is that if you can't hang out in the cold water for up to 5 minutes, you're going to do tough things
right
throughout the rest of your day. It's just an uncomfortable thing.
Yeah.
And so you're uncomfortable for a little while, and then it really does like perk you up like considerably, probably obviously, when you get out. And so far I feel like, it does, because if I can take a cold shower, then everything else is kind of easy. I don't know if I'm making sense. I have a little bit of a cold, so my head is spinning a little bit. But
I wonder why with all those cold showers.
I guess boosting your immune system isn't one of the things it does.
Well, I was sick a week before. I was sick last week. And it's hanging. But I don't know. You know, I just, so far it seems like there's things that I would normally have said, like, I mean, it's only 3 days in, so who knows? This could be a placebo effect or something too, but you know, there's some things where I'd be like, oh, I got to call the student loan people. I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow turns into 2 weeks from now.
Right.
You know, and I'm going to get out of the shower and I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm going to call the student loan people and be very uncomfortable for a few minutes and get it over with and just do it. And, you know, that's one example of a few. So, but, you know, again, it's just 3 days.
Right.
That's like, I don't know if it's just student loans in particular, but that's the one thing that I always put aside is calling people.
I mean, that's an example. There is somebody people had to call, but it's just an example.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, the whole idea, if you can't be in cold water for 5 minutes, how are you going to do hard things? Not like calling is hard, but you know.
I appreciate the philosophy, but I still wonder if it would work for me, like, because with something I've come to realize
Everyone
about
tries to talk themselves out of it. It's cool.
No, I'll be straight. No, I will never do it. I mean, I might do a challenge, a betterment, whatever, but I will never do the cold shower part of it. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm not saying you're crazy or anything, but something I've been kind of realizing about myself, because I struggle with this idea of willpower a lot, because a lot of the problems we have, especially as artists, comes down to just do it. And why don't we just do it? You know, and I yell at other people for not doing it. And I yell at myself for not doing it. And I especially, you know, I'm working on my own comic and I have a hard time sitting at the table for 8 hours. Yet when I'm working for a client, I bust stuff out, staying up all night and get it done. And this comes back to the shower thing, because I think it's easier to motivate, I'll say myself, but I think it's true of other people too, if you have to, if there's a reason, if there's a deadline, etc. And so things like I'm going to exercise and I'm going to eat better and I'm going to, all that stuff, I could see like, okay, I get why. And you know, but the shower thing, it's like, I can make myself be in cold water, but I don't have to, and why? You know what I mean? like it's not. I don't believe that it will help me get my comic done. You know, if I'm gonna put that willpower out, for me, I should just sit at the drawing table much longer than I do.
Right. Yeah, Gaz, if you're not going to walk up to a total stranger and tell them to punch you in the face, you're never going to make that call to the student loan people.
I guess that's true too.
You know, every time you try something, there's a lot of pushback from a bunch of pussies.
All right. He's challenged me now. Now I'm going to have to do it.
Kevin, we're not telling you not to do it. We're just laughing at you. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's cool. And I'm laughing at you guys because you're weak. I'm just kidding. It's a you know, I don't expect most people to do it. I don't expect most people to do hard things. So, but
you gotta put in that little passive aggressive button.
I did. That was on purpose. I'm partially joking, but I'm partially also not. You know, and I don't know. It's just my life where I want to do the hard things.
Right. And if it works for you, then great. And like, not everyone's the same or whatever. And I'm not trying to talk you out of it or trying to explain why it's not a good idea. I was more going on a tangent because I've been doing a lot of soul searching too, different from you, but you know, we're all a little bit the same as artists. And like I said, I've been realizing about myself, because I feel like I do have good willpower in some ways. But then, like Scott said, I was playing video games instead of working on my comic. Why? You know, and because I don't have to, because there's no deadline, there's no bill that needs to be paid, there's nobody waiting. I mean, there's people that want to read my comic, but so when I think about ways to improve myself, personally for me, the shower thing didn't seem like a thing I would do. But again, if it's working for you, then fucking do it every day. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff in this whole thing that I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, but it kind of comes down to, I'm going to try it. And it's only for 30 days. Right. You know, at the same time. So, you know, I mean, I guarantee, you know, I've already felt pretty good. Like when I've gotten out of the shower here, you know, not when I'm in it. And when I'm in it, I have to like, you know, kind of like sit there and turn into Conan the Barbarian for a while, you know, and just like go, oh man, I'm a fucking goddamn warrior. I'm goddamn warrior. Rinse, repeat, you know. And then I get out and I'm like, oh, that was done. And then I'm like, oh, I feel awesome. I'm going to go take on everything that I was putting off. And that's,
I mean, can't argue with results.
Yeah. And that's 3 days in. Chris McQuinlan said he did it for 5 days and felt the same thing. Let's see.
Is that in the chat? So
Evan Moore says Kevin is taking cold showers. There's no telling what he'll do if you upset him.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like it when I'm angry.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see. There's a lot of things that are in this kind of thing where I'm like, I don't know if I buy this, but it's in this book, and they talk a big game, and it's only 30 days, so I'm gonna try it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's worth a shot.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of of the same opinion, but I don't think it can hurt you. I mean, I understand what you're saying, that if you can do that, then you're like, because I mean, that's one of the things that I do in the morning is take a shower, not a cold one, but it does help wake me up and get ready. So I imagine if it was cold, I'd be that much more awake.
I'll tell you this too about it is more stuff done in these past 3 days because I am notorious for taking half an hour long showers.
Oh,
I wake up all groggy and get in the shower and just kind of sit there for a long time and do it,
Oh yeah.
Basking or not basking, essentially standing there asleep in the warmth. And now it's like, I'm like, okay. Done.
That makes a difference too, because I take a shower every other day usually. I don't take a shower every day, which sounds gross, but I don't know. I don't get stinky and dirty like after one day. I don't even use deodorant or anything. I'm lucky that way. And when I don't really use it either. And when I take a shower, I actually, because I worry about spending too much time, and you'll laugh at this, but there's this Power Rangers Mega Mix song that's like 12 minutes long. So I put that on when I get in the shower, and like if I start getting to certain seasons, I'm like, oh shit, that's like 6 minutes. I better wrap it up, like so I kind of time myself to the song.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's pretty rad.
When I did Godzilla Fest in Chicago last year, I stayed with a buddy of mine, and I didn't think about it, but I put it on when I took the shower. And later on, his wife, I guess, talked to him about it, and he's like, "Hey, let me ask you something. My wife, were you listening to some kind of heavy metal Power Rangers this morning?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's my shower music." So sometimes you get in your own little world and you don't think about how it might seem odd to people that don't live with you.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. I also like that you called it a mega mix.
That's the name. I didn't make that name up.
Okay.
That is the official name.
That's great. Oh, I don't have a mega mix. Maybe I should make one. Maybe after the cold showers, I'll make a mega mix with my own.
Right, you'll have all that energy.
Yeah, because right now it's just like, the book. It says, if you can't, or it tells you, 5 minutes. If you can't do it, and it's basically what I'm saying. If you can't do this, how are you expected to take on the hard stuff? And I'm not in there for 5 minutes. I have gotten fast showering down to a science in just 3 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so
and
is that cheating, or is that part of it?
Oh, I don't know. I think the point, it just says cold showers, doesn't give you time limit. It says
okay.
Up to 5 minutes.
Okay. Up to, okay.
Yeah.
But that is like direct objective results that you've already gotten. If you were taking half-hour showers and now you're taking 5-minute showers, you just made yourself 25 minutes in the day. So you've proven your point right there, actually.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. And then getting up at 5 a.m. Ooh, that's a rough one, but I'm doing it. Yeah, you find it like after a cold shower and you're up at 5 a.m. Yeah, a lot of stuff gets done early.
Yeah, I usually. Go ahead, guys.
No, I've been talking a lot. You go ahead.
It wasn't that important. I was just gonna say I'm kind of I'm one of those people that usually stay up. I'm not really late, but decently late, but usually get up early. Except in the winter when it's when it's still dark out. But yeah, I mean I do like to get up early because it just seems like you get more done that way. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I'm truly a night person, so it's kind of It's
Well,
difficult. It's harder for me to go to sleep than it is for me to wake up lately. Because I mean, I still wake up very tired, but when it's time for bed, which has been like 10, these past, it's supposed to be 10. I'm just like, I'm wide awake. I'll be like tired all day. This is beforehand, I should say, because things are a little different now. But I'd be tired all day, and then all of a sudden, like 9 o'clock rolls around, and I'm like wide awake.
Yeah,
guys,
that's actually how I feel too.
Oh, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
What? Sorry.
I said, go ahead, Mike. We haven't heard enough from you, so.
I was just gonna agree. That's all. I feel like I'm like a zombie the whole day, but as soon as the sun goes down, I'm like wide awake, ready to go, ready to get work done. And it doesn't matter how much I try to psych myself up throughout the day. I just can't sit still long enough to do anything. But man, night down, it's time.
Did you say
I'll sit
night
there
down?
I did. Is
I
that not
love
a
it.
thing? We can make it a thing.
It is now, brother.
Yeah, I never heard Nighttown.
Night
I want to
down.
go there.
In a town where people don't work normal jobs, they want to create art. Beware the night down.
It's a very dark place.
Well,
Are
the
you
one
still,
thing I
are you
don't
still-
go for it, Scotty.
I was going to ask Mike if he was still doing the jogging in the morning.
Oh no, unfortunately, I totally fell off of that for quite a while now.
Yeah, because I'm
once
finding
the
it hard to
winter
do
hit,
that.
Yeah, I couldn't bring
Oh, yeah,
myself
yeah.
to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying for a while, but honestly, like it was too hard on my body. I don't have too many things wrong with me, but I got a really bad knee, like really bad. And once winter hit, it just started seizing up on me, and I was feeling like I was doing more harm than good trying to get out there in the cold like that. Even if I would warm it up, it was just not good. But
Yeah. I'm still doing it, but just not as
probably
frequently.
3 days a week.
yeah, I still do walks.
3 days of running a week. Walking's supposed to be better anyway.
Is it?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I have bad knees, and my doctor's like, walk, ride your bike, swim, don't run, because
Oh.
Oh wow.
the impact. Because the impact. What I was trying to ask before to anybody who gets up earlier to get more work done. I mean, I'm a night person, and I've never really been. I mean, I do it if I have to. Again, like if I have to get to a job, I'm able to wake myself up and stuff. But on the few occasions when I've been like, all right, I'm gonna get up at 8 or 9 and like work for like. It never fails that the work I get done in the morning is taken away from the work I would normally get done at night. So I don't get more work done. I get just work done at a different time of day. So I never understand when people, unless you're skipping sleep somehow, how does getting up earlier get you more work done than staying up later?
It doesn't, I think, if you're disciplined and everything, but it just seems like in the beginning of things pile up on you during the course of a day. And if you get out there and start doing stuff before those things start to pile up on you, then it seems like you get more done. That's the reason why I do it anyway.
I could see that too. That actually goes pretty well with this little philosophy that I've got lately, which is to, whatever the most important thing is in your day, try to get that done first, because then you don't have the whole rest of the day to convince yourself not to.
Right. Well, I'm with what both of you said.
That's the eat a frog for what?
I don't know what it is. I know
Is this another part of your warrior challenge?
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna make all you guys eat frogs and go to bed early and wake up early. No, I don't remember. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying it right, but there's some phrase about like because no one wants to do that. So and that's what your hardest task is. You get that out of the way first.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what all three of you said, I agree with. That like just get up and start working on your art or whatever. Like I'm totally with you, all three of you. But that doesn't really answer my question, because if I get up at 12, have a cup of coffee, sit down and start working, which is what I've been doing, I am getting right into it. I'm ignoring my emails. I'm not letting stuff bog me down. I'm just getting right to work. But if I start that at 12 or I start that at 5 or like that's what I'm saying. What difference does it make what time you get up as long as you start right away and put the work in?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're ignoring your email and stuff like that, it just seems like if you can get ahead, especially if you're like doing freelance and if you know people have things they want you to finish,
Right.
you know, you can get it done. Like I try to get stuff done, a few things done before I go to work. If I have things that need to be done and I don't have time to do it, and that's the reason why I'm not jogging as much, because that seems to be the case more now than it used to be. So,
well, I guess that makes sense too, but. And again, I'm not trying to convince anybody of my way of thinking. I'm more just trying to understand if there is an objective value to doing it a different way. But like, if I am bogged down with emails and stuff like that, then that's when, oh, well, now that it's 10 o'clock at night, no one's bothering me, and I could work for a few hours uninterrupted. And it seems to me that 10 to 2 is the same as like the 5 to 9, just on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Right. Here's how it is for me. Before I had a kid. So this is like a lifestyle thing. Before I had a kid, I work late, and if I wanted to start late and work till 7 a.m., fine, and then I'd sleep all day.
Yes,
no big deal. But now I have to like really like, and so because of my kid's schedule and how she wakes up and the things I have to bring her to do. And personally, it's not the schedule I love, but it's the schedule that needs to work.
Okay, and that makes perfect sense to me too. But that's because you have outside factors like your daughter or whatever else that make it so you kind of have to be on that schedule if you want to get the work done. So what I'm hearing is, until I have a kid or other factor, doing it at night is just valid during the day.
I mean, that could be, but I mean, but that's what I'm saying is that's what got me to a point where I had to be on a schedule like this.
Right.
But whenever I am on an early schedule like now, or previous, even when I was a night, I still am a night person, when I was able to just work at night, I still got more done because everything was front loaded instead of back ended. You know what I mean? So I was able to get, I guess, more done because I would just start early, and then if I didn't get enough done, then I could work late. Whereas before, if I waited to work late, it made it more stressful. It made it sometimes harder to make deadlines if if I waited too long. You know what I mean? To work at night, even if I worked all night. It just maybe that's a personality thing for me. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out if there's an objective reason for it to be better. I mean, obviously there's subjective reasons, and it works for certain people, and your daughter is certainly a good reason. But as someone who doesn't have, like, I guess what I'm thinking, because I've had the deadline issues. Oh my God, this has to be done. But I would tend to, if it's due Tuesday, I'll stay up all night Monday getting it done. And have it done Tuesday morning, rather than get up early Tuesday morning and have it done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost the opposite of what you're saying about like trying to avoid the pressure. So I'll just stay up all night the night before it's due to make sure it's done before I go to sleep, rather than getting up early and then having to work on it like a maniac.
Right. Well,
I mean, it might just be a different strokes for different folks kind of thing.
Yeah,
but
I think whatever works for you,
Yeah. But the reason I was pushing it so much is I've heard lots of people talk about the benefits of getting early and getting more work done, and I never quite understood it.
I think maybe for most people, like you may be just a special breed, Gaz.
Well, my situation is different too, I think, is the big thing, yeah.
You have the power of the mega mix. See, not everybody has that. In your hand.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to adjust to what works. I mean, I heard stories of parents who have kids who have that horrible thing where they're like allergic to the sun, where they have to change their whole schedule around, and basically their kid is out at night, and that's how they live their lives. So, I mean,
So they get up real early to have extra time. It's like the reverse.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know that like when you have a kid, like Kevin is saying, that's the situation where you have to get up early and do that. But, in these weird, strange situations that it's kind of the reverse. But you know,
Right.
I guess you make it work. Whatever works, you know.
Sure.
If it's working for you, I mean, far be it from me to tell you otherwise. I think for most people, you know, if for instance, I guess we're talking to people that maybe it isn't working for them.
Right.
And say, try it, you know, try getting up early, and maybe that'll help. You know, or maybe you're like Gaz, and maybe staying up later helps. But you know, I don't know. Give it a try, I guess.
I've actually found benefit for both, and I feel like maybe the correlation is that just people in general aren't up and moving at that point, so it's a lot quieter. There's less traffic, there's less phone calls, and you get that whether you're up really early or whether you're up really late.
Yeah,
it's just much more.
I mean, ideally,
time.
What you hear is that you're supposed to figure out like that ideal time for you to work. What's your most productive? You know, so some people are night people, some people maybe in the afternoon, some people in the morning.
Right.
You know, but unfortunately, because of schedules, we can't always choose that, you know.
Sure.
Or, you know, or whatever your life is like. I mean, yeah, I think Evan Moore, he kind of brought up a good point. He likes to get stuff done early, because if he doesn't get done, he kind of loses willpower quick throughout the day. And I did find that for myself sometimes when I was working at night. But then sometimes, you know, I just couldn't wait to work at night till everybody was in bed and it was all quiet and I could, you know, creep around and make comics.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is very situational. It's personality, but it does seem situational too, because like you said, having a kid makes the decision for you.
Yeah.
But you know, I struggle with willpower issues too. But again, maybe I'm that special, but like if I fart around during the day and don't get work done and go for a walk and play a video game and do a bunch of bullshit, by the time it's like 8 o'clock, I'm like, oh my God, I fucked around all day, and I get pissed off. I'm like, now I gotta work, and like I go in a like guilt, anger, overdrive drawing mode, you know? Like
yeah. I've done that too, for sure. But now it's like I've been trying to get up early for like the past couple of years, and that's another reason why I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. You know?
Right, sure. Well, yeah, you're meeting a personal goal at that point.
Yeah, totally. Because I was finding that, you know, and this is also a personal thing, is you know, both when I was, you know, in a marriage and now out of it, and now when I have my daughter, you know, I was waiting to work until after she would go to sleep most of the time. You know, so then after I put her to sleep and got everything kind of set up, it might sometimes be 9 o'clock, you know, even though she might go to bed at 7:30 or something. It might be like 9 o'clock, usually is what happened. And then I'd work all through the night. And then, you know, being a single father now and previously a stay-at-home dad, then I get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep.
Right.
So it's definitely yeah.
Well, that makes perfect sense. And again, that's an objective life thing that's making it clear what the right thing to do for you is.
Yeah. So I wasn't getting enough work done, but either on my own stuff or my client work, you know, on the days that I really had to be a father. And then, and now, and again, I've only had her one day during these 3 days, waking up at 5, is I went from getting about 2 or 3 hours of work now, or else, because I learned my lesson coming back from LA, I was not going to go back into 2 hours of sleep a night.
Right.
You know, I get like 2 or 3 hours of work done, but this schedule that I'm on right now, I got 6 hours done, which is not a full work day, but it's considerably more than I was getting.
Certainly.
And then that means on the days that I don't have her, you know, I can work a 10, 12 hour day, which when I'm working usually melts, you know, it just goes by, which, you know, is kind of one of the cool things about being an artist, I guess, is because other people, you know, they're on Facebook at their job by, you know, at the 2 hour mark, and we can put on a podcast and just like time travel, you know,
or an episode of the Artcasters.
So yeah, I don't know. It's season to taste, I suppose.
It really is. I mean, I get so into all this, like, I guess self-helpy kind of, you know, find your stride kind of stuff. Like, That's been like my biggest mission the last few years, is reading as many of those books as I can to try to figure out how to make this crazy life work. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I feel like it really is different for everybody. Like there is no one solution. Even some of the books that I've read, like some of it sounds good, but then other parts of it don't make any sense at all, you know, and you kind of just have to figure out your own stride, your own needs, I guess, and find ways to just hone in on those things. Sometimes one at a time, sometimes like dramatically all at once, you know.
Yeah.
Like when I was trying to quit smoking, I felt like I had to do like a huge life change. I had to change so much just to rattle my system enough to be able to do that. I had to quit coffee. I had to, you know, just a number of different things just to change life so much to the point where, you know, smoking didn't fit in anymore. You know, I don't know. Just
Yeah.
different things like that. It's fascinating, you know.
Totally.
If it's about like advice, I guess, for anybody who might be struggling with that, I'd say self-awareness is definitely key. Like you can't fix what you don't know is broken, you know.
Yes, I agree with that.
Is that too broad?
No, I
not at
think
all.
that's perfect. And I think that's even when you like, well, again, I'll speak to myself. Like, even if I identify things that weaknesses I have or problems I'm having, and I identify them, and even if I fix them, you got to keep looking, because then it's like, oh, well, but I have these other issues too that I never thought about. Like, it's kind of an ongoing thing of like, just kind of like art too, you know, like, oh, I figured out my anatomy, but my perspective is still off. It's kind of like that with your personality too, and your work habits as well. You fix one thing, there's always more you could do better.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
You'll never be good.
Or sometimes you might think it's one thing when it's another, you know, like for, I don't know, so many years I felt like I had all my shit together and everything, you know, should be fine. And I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong. But once I let the ego go and really started looking at myself, I was like, all right, well, you got problems with time management. You have problems with focus. You have problems with completing things. There was a number of like more specific things that had nothing to do with like, oh, this person just doesn't want to hire me, or, oh, it's the job market right now. It had nothing to do with any of that.
Right. That's hard, though, to be honest with yourself. Like,
oh, God, it's so hard. Yeah. You can go from feeling like you're on top of the world to suddenly feeling like, oh, I'm nothing. My whole life is a lie.
Well, that also ties back into what we were saying before about the idea of being in love with being an artist or being a creative person.
Yeah.
Because if that destroys your self-image of I'm an artist, and you're not willing to put that work in, then yeah, you're going to crumble, and that'll be the end of it if somebody tells you you're no good.
Yeah. Oh, big time. I mean, man, I lived that. Like, I honestly lived that. I thought I was the best thing since buttered toast. Like, I totally was not. I feel like I'm okay saying it now because I don't think that way anymore. But there was a time when I felt like I don't need to learn anything more. I got all of this, you know.
Yeah.
But and then I hit like ultimate rock bottom when I got some really nasty criticism from someone that I really respected, and I was like miserable after that. You know,
was that a teacher of yours, or who was that?
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have to say the name, but
it was a professor.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And although, you know, and that's a long story, and he was kind of a jerk anyways, but it really forced me to start looking inward and to get more humble and to really, you know, just respect the art again. You know, it wasn't about me anymore. It was about the image. It was about doing good work. It was about, you know, the process, not the destination, all that stuff that sounds cheesy when you hear it and you don't take it seriously. But man, that made the difference. I mean, that was the reason I started the hundreds in the first place, is because I knew there was stuff I needed to fix, and I knew I needed to own up and be humble and, like, you know, just do a thing consistently and be open about it, be open about all my flaws, all the, you know, little blemishes that I was trying to hide before. It was just like, no, here I am. I got, you know, I'm a mess. I'm gonna try and fix it. Here we go.
Yeah, but there's more honor in that. It's more respectable than faking it.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I feel like I've grown so much since then. So much.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just internally, like I get up and I put in the work every single day.
But externally too, like the stuff you're doing for the anthology might be some of the best stuff I've seen you do. Like, you know, it shows.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I hope.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like from that first 100 days to now is it's night and day.
Cool. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it is really good, man. Like, just thinking about like that one page you did with that kind of like tilted space station. It looks so badass, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. But
Yeah,
you see
really,
the difference now in like I guess where I'm at in my head is like I appreciate that, and I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna have my little moment, but I'm still gonna work. I'm not gonna let. In the past, I would have heard something like that and gone, "Oh, great, cool. I'm gonna take the week off. Then I'm fantastic."
Right.
But,
because you were working for the accolades instead of having a nice piece of art then.
right. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying about pinpointing your personal flaws. Like that was a personal flaw of mine. So that's something that now constantly I'm keeping in check, you know?
Yeah.
Probably similar to like, I think I actually got a lot of help with that from you, not directly, but indirectly, and just your attitude. You don't take compliments very, very well. You're just like, oh yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah.
Anyways. But it helps. Like it keeps you focused, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's something that I came to a while ago, and I still have millions of flaws, most of which I probably don't recognize as well as I should. But one thing that I've come to realize about myself and kind of adjusted is I definitely used to love the idea of the fame. And again, I use the term loosely because a famous artist is not like a real famous person. But, you know, like I want to be the next Todd McFarlane or whatever. Like that was definitely something that was a big motivating factor when I was younger. And I'm sure with a lot of artists. And at some point I turned a corner where if I do my book, The Horror, if I do the horror and it gets sold in stores and people start to know it and people wear a horror t-shirt and never know who the fuck I am, that's fine. I would much rather they like my artwork and my stories and my characters. I don't care if they know who I am. You know what I mean? I want my art to be seen. And I think once I came to that mindset, things got easier in a lot of ways. The end.
I think everyone's kind of nervous because like we're stepping over everyone's toes. So like, oh, who's gonna speak up? But go ahead.
No, I mean, I agree with that. It's like I mean, it's like that's not what's gonna make you happy, you know.
Right.
Fame's great, but you know, fame is temporary. You know.
Oh yeah.
Most people. You know, there, like I can tell you, like I've never been famous, but I've been in a bigger band in like a tiny room. But at the time, you know, when you're at that point, you feel like you're getting famous,
right?
And it goes away so quick. And then if you buy into that stuff, it's going to eat you up.
Yeah, totally. And unfortunately, a lot of people, that's their primary goal is to be known, to be famous, and that's even if they get it, then how are they going to sustain it? Because why keep creating art once you hit that fame point? Then like you're done, right? I mean,
right. And it's like, and it was that the whole point? Probably not. You know, most people probably got into the music or the art or you know whatever it is that they're into for that reason, to create it.
Right.
And then at some point they get maybe a little, you know, a little bit more skillful at it or something like that, and you know. And then these like, you know, illusions start popping up.
Right. And even if you, here's an example of Mike Mignola, comic artist most of us not know personally. I mean, I know him. He's my friend now, but he's a name in the business. And you know, most artists know him. But when the Hellboy movie was coming out, I was at New York Comic-Con, and I remember either it had just come out or was about to come out, but they had like all these panels with Ron Perlman and all those people. And you know, thousands of people were online to shake his hand, to get a signature, to see him. He was like just as big as any, you know, actor type celebrity, and it was nuts. And then like 2 years later, after the movie had come out and he went back to just being a writer and artist type guy, you could just walk up to him at the Dark Horse booth, no line, hey, what's going on? I'm like, you know, and he wasn't bitter or anything because he had been doing this forever and he had a calm head on his shoulder. But I could see how if you were not an artist first, that could really mess some people up because they're like, I made it. And then 2 years later, they're back in Artist Alley because that's the nature of it. Like he was famous for a minute and then he went back and he's still quite famous for an artist. But you know what I'm saying? Sure. Like that high level disappeared almost immediately. And so I think about this, not that I think I'm going to be famous ever, but I do have that idea that if something like that ever did happen to me, I would know how to handle it by watching what he did. You know what I mean? Like that's great, and he'll shake the hands, but know that doesn't matter, and that's going to go away, and get to work on the next book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally.
That's the key, is to keep working. You know,
Yes.
anything that stops you from working is the enemy in a way.
I
You
agree.
know, whether
I
that's ego or whether it's diet or physical health, whatever, anything.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just so hard. It's just so hard. It's not like they're not like handing out art jobs, you know. And there's
Right.
a lot of competition now, and that's not even to say that, like, I say competition, but I don't mean like I'm competing against everybody for fame. I mean just sustainability, a living, you know, to get noticed, to get your art noticed.
Right.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what's more important, is just to be fulfilled and famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of us do comics, and I mean, the chance of us ever breaking even with these comics are so slim, but we continue to do it when there are other things we could do with our art that would pay more, but yet we keep coming back to comics. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Every creator.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, so even in my paying work, I occasionally take comic work, and it's always the worst paying of any type of freelance art job. I mean, there might be other people who've had different experiences, but it is always the worst paying. But I still take it sometimes, just because, like, I want to do comics, and, like, you know, even if it's not my comic, I feel like, well, somebody's gonna see this, and it's a comic, and, you know, like, it's...
Yeah, I mean, I can dig that, but I've done a few jobs in comics, and at this point, I don't ever want a job in comics. Unless it's, you know, self-created.
I mean, I feel you, and obviously I'm working on my own book too. I think I'm done working for, like, I don't want to say independent, because I like independent comics, but I think if I was going to work on someone else's comic, it would have to be something that I was really into and invested in. And, like, even if it's a mainstream, like if I got a job working on Ninja Turtles, okay, I don't own Ninja Turtles, but I've loved them since I was a kid, so I'd have a good time doing a couple issues of Ninja Turtles. Like that. Sure. That's, you know, but that's different than just taking any job the comic industry decides to offer me, which is what I used to do.
Yeah, I guess maybe that should be my caveat as well, because that's what I have done, and up to a year ago did, and it didn't make me happy.
Yeah.
So, you know, at this point, you know, I mean, sure, if like a Ninja Turtles book came up or something like that, that would be fun to do. And they sure as shit better pay a lot more than some of the other comic stuff that I've done.
Right.
And if they don't, then I would rather work for Joe Blow, who's got a new T-shirt store down the street, because it'll ultimately pay more.
I generally agree, but there is one other caveat, and this goes back to if it's a big book, if it is like a Spider-Man or something. The argument being that you work on Spider-Man for half a year, and all of a sudden your image book that you come out with will sell because people know who you are. So it's a little cynical, but it's kind of true that if you do have an opportunity to work for a big name, people will buy your independent stuff.
No, I think we're both agreeing on that.
Okay.
Like, I've colored for some of the smaller comic companies. I've done some inking for some of the smaller stuff like that, and it's never worth it in the end.
Right. Oh, I agree with that.
And that's what I'm saying is I should just work for Joe Blow. Sure, my name will be on a book, and people will see it at the comic book store. Maybe 2 people might know me from it to buy my other thing.
Right.
Ultimately, I'd rather spend that time working on my thing and actually make a little bit of money. Work, you know.
No, we're in agreement then.
Yeah. Yes. Take cold showers.
Rub it until we all do it.
Here's the thing. I want to do a video of me taking a cold shower just to prove I could do it, because before what I was saying is like, there's no reason to. Why would I? And it's like, well, now I want to, just to be a dick and prove I can.
Well, and I'm sure you can. Can you do it for 30 days?
You know, I almost, like, I kind of want to do it. Not part of, like, the warrior life betterment, but just like the fuck you, Kevin, here's 30 days of cold showers. And no other part of the challenge, just me every day standing there in the cold shower with my hand out with the finger up.
Just being miserable.
Yeah. This helps nothing.
Yeah, I think you should do it.
Nah, you're right. I'm a pussy.
Yeah, I was gonna do it, but then he says it doesn't count unless you do it 30 days. So I don't know. I guess I'm not listening.
We could take shifts.
Yeah, we'll total up 30 days.
Yeah.
I do cold showers and stuff when I'm like exercising, but I don't know if that's the same thing. Definitely feel more energized.
I do it when I'm out like working in the hot sun. Yeah.
Yeah, to get the sweat off and the grime. Yeah.
That could be pretty intense even then, but first thing in the morning, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get you going. Do we run out of stuff?
I don't know. What time is it? What do we got?
It is 10:22.
A little. Usually we go
It's
about
bedtime to get up early and take a
Oh
cold
yeah,
shower.
I forgot. Yeah.
Is there let's see if there's anything going. I haven't done a good job of looking at chat.
Yeah, we should pay attention to the chat here.
I didn't hear 30 days in a row with the Power Rangers playing. Yeah. There's a lot.
Are they talking amongst themselves, or are they?
They're commenting on what we're saying and stuff. I don't see a lot of like questions or anything. Just kind of making fun of us and having fun.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess we could probably wrap it up a little bit, or wrap it up. Period.
I was like, how do you wrap it up a little bit? Like 2 of us get off and 2 of us stay. Like
gradually fade away one at a time.
Like the pictures and Marty McFly.
All right. So yeah, I really appreciate Mike and Gaz coming on and kind of helping me out last minute like that. So
No, that's awesome. Thanks for asking us.
Thanks
and I'm
for
glad
having us.
Kevin got a chance to come on too. So and hopefully, I'm hoping Jeff will be back next week. But Mike, where can everyone? What do you want to promote, and where can people find you online?
Pretty much everywhere. You can find me right here on YouTube. Just search Mike Emeritz and I should pop up. Also on Instagram, I've been posting pretty much daily updates for my Julie Jupiter comic for the Hundreds Anthology, which I would go there too. Search the Hundreds Anthology on Facebook and you'll see mine and everybody's work for the book. And that's pretty much all I got going on right now. So.
All right. And Gaz, what about you? What do you got going on, and where can they find you?
Well, my main thing is I'm working on issue 2 of the Horror A4, my independent kaiju comic. You could get issue 1 through my Etsy store. You can find me all over online under Gazbot, on YouTube, Instagram, all the usual places.
Okay. And Kevin, and can you also do the pitch thing that Jeff did?
Yeah, I've got a couple pitches.
Oh, all right.
So anyway, yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/KevinCrossArt. And most of my links will, to everything, social media, etc., are underneath all my videos. My first pitch is that tonight I finished a new store for my website. There's a pre-order for a Monkey Mod enamel pen. There's some t-shirts. There's some mugs.
Awesome.
Because you're going to need to drink things. So if you go to, it's on Store MB. Hold on. Okay. I had to check because I didn't know if it was going to be like a / my name. Anyway, so it's kevincross.storenb.com. And there's that. And then the next pitch is that these Artcasters Live Hangouts, they rotate through Scott's channel, my channel, Jeff Rafferty's channel, Joshua Kimmel's channel. And next week, I'm not sure who's up, but so that you know.
Yeah, I'm filling in for Jeff, so if he's on, then maybe he'll go, but I don't know. Who knows? Otherwise, it's probably back to Josh, I think, again. Seems like he just hosted, but.
Okay, so what happens is there's a mailing list that will be posted underneath this video, and it's not to get spammed or anything like that. What happens is that Jeff will send out a link so you can be part of the chat before we go live every week. And about 85 to 90% of the time, it's on Wednesdays. So, yeah, sign up for our mailing list so you can find out, so you can hang out with us.
That sounds great.
All right.
All right, and everyone's on my channel, so you know where to find me. I also have a store, but don't go to my store. Go to Kevin's store, because I'm going to go to Kevin's store because I've been waiting for this pin. So,
Hey, I got my camera working now that we're done.
Oh, awesome. So also, thank you everyone in the chat. And yeah, I guess we will see you hopefully next Wednesday.
Oh, there was a question.
Oh, okay.
How to tell if a piece is taking too long? It is.
Yeah, that's a whole, yeah. I don't know if we'll get
Yeah,
into
once you
that,
get to that point where you're like, is this taking too long?
It is. Yeah.
It is.
You've answered it.
Yeah, go away from me. Because you'll probably come back in the morning and be like, oh, not bad.
Yeah, I agree with what I said. And Kevin.
All right, everyone. We'll see you guys later.
Adios.